Hello and welcome to this week's Productivity Enhancer. Today we're going to take a look at a few different ways that we can dimension sketch entities as we draw them or after the fact. Of course, there are a few old-fashioned ways that are tried and true, like if we were just to draw a line out into space in the graphics area, you can see that we have a corresponding dimension that accompanies the pointer or the cursor, and it gives us a pretty precise way to draw that line with the correct dimension. Let's say we want 45. You can see we have 45.14 and it's kind of skipped somewhere in between. The one problem with this method is that it takes a lot of patience and time to get it perfect, so it would probably just be best to release the line, get our Smart Dimension tool, and type in 45, and there it is. This type of functionality has been part of SolidWorks forever and ever, so there's no surprises here. Hit exit to get out of that. Of course, we always do have the right click, and we can always Smart Dimension from here, and it will provide us with an opportunity to do the same thing, but since we already have this same dimension, we can just hit cancel. But these are kind of the old-fashioned ways of dimensioning things, and they don't really help speed up our design process at all. So I'm just going to hit escape and delete this line. And now we can take a look at a couple different ways to speed up that dimensioning workflow. So if we go up to Options, and under Sketch, we have this little box here, Enable On-Screen Numeric Input on Entity Creation. Now this selection isn't new to SolidWorks 2013. It's been with us for a few different versions of SolidWorks now, so let's just take a look at what it does to refresh our memory. If we select that same line and draw off into the graphics area, then you see we get this text box that comes up. Now what we can do is we can type in whatever distance we want and hit enter, and there's our line. It's 120 millimeters long, but no sketch dimension has been associated with it. There's that information right there. Let's just hit exit. So not bad, saves us a little bit of time. Let's see what happens when we open up a center point rectangle. So here you can see we have two dimensions. We have 43.52, and what we can do is we can type whatever dimension we want for that vertical line. So let's just go ahead and type in an even 50. And then with our mouse button still held, if we hit enter, it takes us to the next dimension, and we can enter in, let's say 110. Hit enter again, and then that rectangle is set to those dimensions, although it is still undefined. So let's accept that. And we can delete this and start again. So what if we don't want this first dimension to be set? What if we're only concerned with the horizontal dimension? Well, all we have to do is hit tab, and it takes us over to the second value. We can then enter in whatever we want. Hit enter, and then that length is achieved, and the other side is just left alone altogether. Of course, we can also change that dimension in the line property dialog box. So let's just type in 60, and there, that's updated. And now we have a set dimension for the vertical and the horizontal axis. Now the one drawback to dimensioning in this method is that our sketch is underdefined. So just because our lengths are set to the right dimension, this one is set to 110 millimeters, this one is set to 60 millimeters, and those were dimensions that we actually set. But in this mode, it doesn't add those dimensions, it just makes the line that specific length. So in order to fully define the sketch, we'd have to just go ahead and dimension it. And now it's fully defined. But there is a way to cut out that extra step of dimensioning those lines once they're created. So let's exit out of here, delete this box, and take a look at how we can do this. So also in the options under Sketch, this selection right here is brand new. Create dimension only when value is entered. So not only will it make the sketch entity the correct value, it will also add the dimension, allowing your sketch to be fully defined on the fly. So let's go ahead and click that and click OK. Now when we do the same exact thing, you can see that our functionality is the same. We can still type in 60 millimeters, hit enter, type in 110, hit enter, and then we have our box. Now once we close our rectangle or hit escape, you can see that that sketch is fully defined and we have our dimensions created. The same functionality exists if we do want to create that center rectangle again and just dimension the second value. We can hit tab, enter in a dimension, and then hit enter, and now the only side that received that dimension is the one that you specified. This also works well with circles. You can specify a diameter. Let's say we want this to be 75. Hit enter, and that circle is automatically dimensioned to a diameter of 75 millimeter, and it is fully defined. This is a really great way to sketch out entities with known values. Not only will SolidWorks create that entity at the right length or diameter, but it will also dimension it and fully define the sketch. So this is a great way to speed up your designs without having to change a huge portion of your workflow. So thanks for watching this week's Productivity Enhancer. I hope it was helpful. Until next time.